What do Jehovah's Witnesses believe?
What do Jehovah's Witnesses believe? It's not enough to know that it's batshit crazy. You need the facts. The crazy stuff. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the Old Testament God Yahweh needed a fundamentalist religious sect to spread the good news from the Bible, and that he chose them from all the religions of the world in 1919. The so-called good news they preach consists of the belief that Jesus returned invisibly to the earth in 1914, despite the fact that he himself said all eyes would see him. Satan the devil is in control of everything on earth today, be it governments, religions, institutions, even human endeavors. Never mind that this theory falls flat when you consider human altruism. All worldly folks, that's non-Jehovah's Witnesses to you and me, will die in a cataclysmic war of Armageddon. This includes even newborn babies, who Yahweh deems evil. The survivors will live in a garden-like earth for all eternity, along with tame animals, and especially lots of panda bears. Eventually, maybe, Jehovah will even let them colonize other planets. The Jehovah's Witness survivors will welcome back people who died in the past, people who didn't get to hear the Watchtower's brand of the so-called Christian message. This includes Genghis Khan, Ivan the Terrible, Jack the Ripper, Emperor Nero, and Mad King George. I reckon he'll fit right in. Eventually, once the world has returned to a paradise and is filled with people, everybody's naughty bits will drop off, and we'll all become like angels. This doesn't even address the fact that the angels of Noah's day were randy as heck and needed spiritual bromide tablets. The do's and don'ts. Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate Christmas, as it's pagan and way too centered on Christ. They don't celebrate birthdays, as the first documented one got way out of hand. They don't do Easter, as chocolate eggs and bunnies offend Yahweh. It's kind of like the combination of oysters and pork in Deuteronomy. They don't do Halloween because nobody likes scary, uninvited visitors. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to have tattoos or body art piercings. Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote, as it upsets Yahweh if the Democrats get in. They aren't allowed to salute the flag because, well, when children get wedgies, it's character building. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to smoke cigarettes, take recreational drugs like betel nut, magic mushrooms, or weed. The only crazy, mind-altering thing they can do is study the Revelation book. Dude, that is messed up. Jehovah's Witnesses don't allow blood transfusions because Yahweh sees it as no different to eating blood. Breast milk is fine, even though it's stuffed full of white blood cells and platelets. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to use bad language, get drunk, have extramarital affairs, grow beards, have same-sex relationships, masturbate, become a member of the armed forces, or wear fashionable or immodest clothes. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught that computer games are bad for their children, as they might be influenced to copy the violence they see on the screen. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to go to university or college, as this would corrupt them, and crucially help them develop a personality. as well as an internal bullshit detector. Splitting hairs. Jehovah's Witnesses have carefully crafted their global brand of religion to be totally different to other religions. It's like going to McDonald's. Wherever you go in the world, the kingdom halls all look the same and dole out the same dry, tasteless, spiritual food. The only difference is that Mickey D's is run by just one clown. Jehovah's Witnesses like to take the focus off Jesus and concentrate on Yahweh, the angry Old Testament God. For unknown reasons, they decided to name their religion after a god called Jehovah. In the 12th century, Catholic monk Raymundus Martini didn't invent a delicious beverage. He did, however, invent the name Jehovah. Today, we know it's an inaccurate translation, but it doesn't matter to the Jehovah's Witnesses that they might be offending Yahweh. Possibly in the next 100 years, New Light may force a name change. Jehovah's Witnesses do not believe that Jesus was killed on a cross. The Romans crucified criminals left, right, and center for hundreds of years. Spartacus and 6,000 slaves were crucified in 70 CE. But Jesus was spared being crucified because he made a special agreement with the Romans, as he didn't want any of his followers making idols out of the symbol of the cross. And if you believe that, he probably got a deal for getting the rust cleaned off the iron nails as well. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that God talks directly to 7 men in New York. Jehovah's Witnesses call them the governing body. They pass on Jehovah's message to the rest of the cult through the pages of the Watchtower magazine. These days, we know the term governing body to be a 20th century invention, a legal term, used to describe a corporation's leaders or a company's board of directors. But in Watchtower land, believers are conned into thinking something different. Apparently, the governing body of Christians have always existed, ever since Jesus died, and right through the centuries. Like this bloke here in the year 457, and these two blokes here in the year 986, and this fellow, woman. The trouble is, in many Muslim countries, other religions aren't even allowed, let alone allowed to proselytize. I reckon Yahweh is turning a blind eye to Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, China, and North Korea. Even though Jesus told his followers not to have a controlling clergy, Jehovah's Witnesses have a hierarchy of ministerial servants, elders, circuit overseers, district overseers, and a governing body. Excommunication or disfellowshipping, nothing to do with token, by the way, is regularly practiced for those who decide to no longer follow the religion. In order to try and make their end-of-the-world prophecy make sense, Watchtower Corporation has manipulated the facts. There are over 2,000 clay tablets at the British Museum which prove that Jerusalem fell in 587 BCE and not 607 BCE. Jehovah's Witnesses prefer to distort tangible facts to make the story tally with the Bible record. The Igebe family records dovetail with astronomical records and prove, without a doubt, that Jerusalem fell in 587 BCE. There's no reason for any religion to try and predict the end of days. As the scriptures say, no one knows the day or hour, neither the angels nor the Son,